My name is Joel, and today we'll take a look at winning the opponent's queen via consecutive checks. Right. The first thing I notice in this puzzle is I have one check which is on the A file, right, targeting the king. I have another check that is moving the queen from E2 to E1, right, and that's about it. That's the only set of checks I have. Obviously, we can move the queen here or here, whatever. But we have a check on along this row, right? Along this rank. The first thing I notice is that we can make the king run around, right? How can you make the king run around? If I give a check, right? The king has to move to this square. This is the only legal move, that is the G2 square, right? So the first thing I notice is if I give this check, right? This king will have to move. When this king moves, I have another check, right? Forcing the king to either move here or move here. But the king cannot move to this square, so it'll move to f3, right? It'll move to f3, right? Then we have another check, right? So that is the check on uh, this square, right? Along that's h1, right? When we do that, I also realize that this queen is going to be undefended, right? How will it be undefended? Because the king has to move to one of these squares. The queen will be singly defended. Right, let's just take a look at that, right? I take my queen, give a check along that diagonal, the A diagonal, and I notice that this king then has to move somewhere, right? Obviously, the king is not going to move to g4 because that leaves the queen undefended, right? So it's going to move to this square, right? That's the f4 square. I noticed that both our queens kind of stare down at each other, right? The first thing that I thought of was actually trying to kind of pin the queen, but I mean that doesn't really work because the queen could simply recapture our rook, right? The next thing that I thought of is what if I move this pawn, right? Sacrificing the pawn, making the king move somewhere, right? And we win the opponent's queen. So yeah, that's kind of how you calculate it. I think this is a much more higher rated puzzle, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And obviously, then we can continuously give checks and try and win this rook too. But that's the basic gist of it. I hope you guys understood this concept. Thank you.